Tough loss for Alabama in the championship game out in Las Vegas. They had it. We had them. We knew who they were, but we let them off the hook. We're going to talk about that loss to the Oregon Ducks, this basketball team, and what's coming up for the Crimson Tide as they continue this gauntlet of a non-conference schedule. That's Catfish himself, Chad, and I'm Mick. And right after this, we're going to get this show started. Thank you guys for being here. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Get this party started. All right, there he is, the Catfish himself, Chad Anderson, Mick Gillespie. Chad, late lead for Bama, but they couldn't hold on.
Yeah, it was one of those that just kind of ran out of luck. You know, how fitting for Vegas, too. You keep going back to the tables. You're on the hot streak. You're winning games. You're holding on. Dealers busting. And last night, Alabama played with fire one time too many. It was a rough night, too, man, because you lose Latrell Wrightsell, which, unfortunately, we don't have the official diagnosis yet, but people aren't optimistic about the rest of the season for him. So hopefully that's overstated. We'll find out. But, Bama, Mick, even though they beat Houston, they beat Rutgers, it was just one of those weeks where they had enough grit. They were able to grind it out, and they held on and won. And they gave up some leads and still held on, was able to win the game. Against Oregon, though, it eventually caught up to them. And a lot of it is just some hot and cold shooting, but some mistakes, not taking advantage of some scoring runs. A big story, the turnovers. Like Alabama averaged 16 turnovers in the tournament out in Vegas. And you just can't do that against quality opponents. And that's what you had. You played 3 tournament teams, like Houston, Rutgers, and Oregon are probably all going to the tournament. Oregon's undefeated. They're 8-0. And Alabama just, again, you can only play with fire so often. And when you turn the ball over, they did it 15 times last night. Oregon only turned it over 8. Against Rutgers, Alabama turned it over 20 times. Rutgers was in single digits. So you just can't do that and expect to win games consistently. So they got to clean that up. But still, quality opponent. Alabama, to play like that and only lose by 2, it again just makes you better and better as you go through the season.
And had to lead late as well. So with Wrightsell going down, if say it, and I'm hearing the same thing you're hearing, it's probably not going to be back anytime soon, right? Who replaces him? How do they set things up?
Well, I mean, they've got such a deep roster. You're set up to where you're rotating and playing 10 guys in all these games anyway. Youngblood is possible to play his first game of the season at North Carolina coming up on Wednesday nights. We'll see if he does. He's from Tuscaloosa, is a South Florida transfer in the offseason. So he brings another dynamic to the team. If he doesn't play on the 4th against Carolina, he will most certainly play on the 14th at Coleman Coliseum against Creighton. So he'll be able to rotate through. But Alabama's still got great guard play. You're going to need Aiden Holloway to step up, and really you're losing that sharpshooter because that's what Wrightsell was. He was the guy that if you found him on the perimeter, he was making the 3, man. Like Nate Oats said it last year, just one of the most pure shooters that he's seen. Called him the best shooter on the team. And so you're going to need guys really to just step up in that role and find somebody who can consistently knock down the big shot, because when he was open, he didn't miss.
Yeah. Well, they've got a deep roster. That's the good thing about this team. Looking for more, the turnovers, but defensively, that was an area where they hung their hat in years past. And I still don't feel like they're quite there yet.
No, they're not there yet. If you look at it, looking at some of the stats from last night, they still out-rebounded Oregon, which they've done that to a lot of teams this year. They were +5 on that bucket. They had more blocks than Oregon. They had more or same amount of steals as Oregon. They just turned the ball over. It was self-inflicted wounds. It was their own demise. Like they were a victim of themselves in last night's game. But it really just came down to shooting. Tied last night from beyond the arc. They shot 31%, which you go, okay, that's not really that bad of a number, but they didn't get anything. And we are not in any way like blaming Sears. You have to almost be so careful when you talk about anybody in a negative light these days. But Mark Sears just didn't have a Mark Sears game last night. And
Right.
that's what it really came down to, is that he was 3 of 14 from the field. He was 1 of 11 from beyond the arc. And he's getting 11 threes and only making one. It's hard to win. And because that's your guy, that's your leader. And that was kind of the story. And he was trying to pick up the slack for Reitzel being down for most of or all of the second half, but for a lot of the game. And so, if your leader's not clicking and just having an off night, then it is what it is. But he had 24 points in each of the first 2 games, and Alabama, they were a winner. So Tide's just going to have to find somebody to fill that gap. And, mentally, that's tough to overcome. It's not like the guy goes down, he's a teammate, he's a friend.
Right.
Oh, he, sprained his ankle. He might be out a week and, he'll come back. When your teammate can't walk to the locker room and then comes back out and is sitting in a boot at the end of the bench, that messes with you. No matter what you want to say, that messes with you. So prayers for Reitzel. Hope it's less than what people are insinuating. But, Bama just honestly, the shots last night just really weren't there in the timeliness. But give them a lot of credit, though. They were down 6 with about 30 seconds to go in the game.
Yeah.
Actually came back and tied it. And it would have gone to overtime if there was an extra 0.4 of a second on the clock where Grant Nelson could have gotten the layup off. But they still had a lot of fight at the end last night to be down 6 under 30 seconds and still come back and push it to the final possession.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, look, these are tough games. Oregon wasn't ranked, but they will be soon.
They will be this week.
Yeah, they'll be ranked, and they might shoot way up there. That's how basketball works. So up next at North Carolina, that's on the 4th. So that's this week. You said you're going to that game.
I am. We may have to go live from the Dean Dome on Wednesday night. Let's do that. I think everybody would enjoy that. Just, we'll go live for 10 minutes or so and can show you the Dean Dome, walk around, do a little bit of a pregame, look, see what the team's like.
Love that idea.
Yeah, we'll definitely do Catfish courtside reaction for you and have it for the
I'm really courtside. What are you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we might be courtside by the end of the night, but we'll have that for you on Thursday morning to follow it up. But this North Carolina team, Alabama's actually beaten North Carolina a couple of times recently. They beat them in 4 overtimes. Do you remember that, Mick? 4 OTs.
Yeah.
I think that was in the Bahamas a few years ago. They beat North Carolina in the Sweet 16 last year. Carolina was the 1 seed in the West Regional.
Mm-hmm.
And that was part of the path to go through to the Final Four. So that Carolina's got this game circled. It's a revenge game. It's part of the SEC versus ACC matchup that they do, where the conferences crisscross and play an opponent of similar ranking from how they finished in the previous year. But North Carolina, they got beat pretty handily by Auburn. They haven't had the best start. I think they lost to Michigan State as well out in Maui. So they're stumbling out of the gates right now. And you go true road game, play them. They're still very talented. They got a couple of pieces back from last year. That was a really good team. It's going to be difficult. But again, love these games because Alabama is now going on the road, tough environment, quality team, top tier ACC program. If Bama wants to, we talked about this, establish themselves as a true basketball brand, not we showed up for a couple of years kind of thing. True basketball brand. These are the games where you have to make your mark known.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it helps you in March, but it also helps to try to win and steal one or two of these. So It's going to be a lot of fun Wednesday night. I'm looking forward to it.
They're not worried about being number 1 now. They want to be number 1 when the season ends. And they're playing the schedule that gets them there, gets them the experience.
Basketball's so different. Football, we're so accustomed to, you got to go 11-1. Basketball is, 24-6 and get the 2 seed and go into the tournament and have a good path, So it's so different, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep. All right, guys, here he is, the Catfish himself, to tell you all about how you can get into a spot like this. And I'm telling you, this was my mortgage guy. Got the studio, the house, all that stuff. Couldn't have done it without Chad. And you're in that market. You need to shop. It's one of those things. It's a big, big investment.
Yep.
Get around, find the people that you want in your corner, and definitely Chad's one of those people. He is the best guy out there. I promise you.
I appreciate it. And this new program, we just rolled it out a couple of days ago. We actually have 2 of them. So just a simple question. If you're purchasing, do you qualify for a 0 down mortgage? Scan that code right there. We'll find out for you. See if we can set you up. We're still saving people on refinances, $500, $600, $700 a month on average with our closings at the moment. We've helped people get on average $20,000 in closing cost assistance from the sellers of homes. So hit me up, scan that QR code. We'll tell you all about these new programs, but the 0 down stuff, obviously a game changer. And we've got 2 new products that are out. So would love to chat with you about it if you're interested. And I don't think I talk about this enough. I'm actually licensed in Alabama, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Florida. So if you're in any of the states, if you're not, tell me which state you're in. I probably have a friend in that market, somebody I can hook you up with that you can trust, and they may have the same program as I do.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you Wednesday with Catfish Courtside from Bama, North Carolina. Thanks for hanging out with us. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Always great to see you here. And we're also presented by our friends over at Pearl River Resort. You can go over there and put money down on Bama basketball. One of the last things that our friend Big Elmo did was pick Bama to win it all. So hopefully they'll win it all. That was a preseason bet. But if you go over there, Sportsbook's fantastic. Really fun place to hang out. Table games, slots, Golden Moon Casino, Silver Star. Great concert series, 90s act coming up with Fuel and Tonic. Find out more for yourself over at Pearl River Resort. Roll Tide.
To Pearl River Resort.